Hey guys, we're going to talk about the law of cosines today. So the law of cosines works if you have a non-right triangle. So this could be our non-right triangle. We can name it triangle ABC. And just remember that capital letters mean the angles and then the lowercase letters mean sides. So the law of cosines is going to be used when you have more sides than angles. So it would be used for the SAS case, which is, remember, side, angle, side. And then in that case, the next thing that you would find is you would find this side A, which is across from that angle A. It could also be used for the side, side, side case. And side, side, side means that we have all three of the sides. Now, when we're finding the angles, we always say that you're going to find the longest or the largest angle first, which is always across from the longest side. So, largest angle first. Now, let's go ahead and write down the formula. Just like law of sines, we have a formula for law of cosines. It's always used to find a side. So we can say a squared, that's a side, equals b squared plus c squared. And that right there, that looks so familiar. That's kind of like the Pythagorean theorem. These are all just rearranged. Minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of a. So something I want you to notice about this formula is that we have b squared and c squared here, and then we have b and c. So those are matching. And then we have side a and the cosine of angle a that are also matching. If you wanted to solve for side B, then we would have b squared equals a squared plus c squared. So notice that we always have that same relationship. We're just whatever side it's equal to, the other two sides are the ones that you're adding together. Minus 2ac times the cosine of angle B. So again, you can see we have a squared and c squared, and then we have a times c right here. Those are matching. We have side B matching angle B, just like in the previous one. So go ahead and try to figure out this last one with me. If we had c squared, that means my other two sides in my triangle are a squared plus b squared, minus 2, since I had a squared and b squared, that means I'll have a times b, times the cosine of, since I'm talking about side C, cosine of angle C. Alright, so if we go ahead and look at example 1 here, we're given that angle C is 108, side A is 22, and side B is 15. Now you don't need to draw this out. We can see that we have that side angle side relationship, which is telling us we're going to use cosine. Now, we know that we can't use the law of sines because if you look at the information that we have, we do not have a match. And if you remember with law of sines, you had sine of A over side A and sine of B over side B. Well, we don't have a match, and there's no way we can get a match by solving for the third angle because we only have one angle. So we are forced to go ahead and find a side first. Now we're always going to find the largest side first if you have an option. In this case, we have to find side C regardless because that's the angle that we're given. We have to find the side that's matching with the angle. Just like with the law of sines, sides and angles had to match. Just so happens that this is also our largest side. That won't always happen. Okay, but in the side, side, side case, you'll always find the largest angle first if you have a choice. Okay, so we are looking for side C. So side C means I'm going to use my formula of c squared equals a squared, which is 22, plus b squared, which is 15, minus 2 times a times b times the cosine of my angle, 108. So notice in the formula here we've got that 22 plus 15 and the 22 times 15. Then we've got angle C and side C. All of that is matching up. Now when we think about typing this into our calculator, we should really be able to leave this straight into our calculator. We should be putting parentheses. We should type in 22 squared plus 15 squared minus, and you should put 2 times 22 times 15 times the cosine of 108. that parenthesis will pop up, and then you should just press enter, and you should end up seeing on your calculator that c squared is 912.95, etc., etc. So leave that in your calculator. Leave all of those decimal places there. And then remember, and this is something that people forget a lot, this is not c, this is c squared. So we have to take the square root. So we're going to use that second answer button again, that negative button, and you should do the square root of this whole answer. So in your calculator, you should type second square root and then second the little negative for your answer button. And you should get that c is 30.2. So now we're going to go ahead and find either angle A or angle B. It doesn't matter which one you find. You can find either angle. We can go ahead and find angle A, just because let's get in our mind that when we're finding angles, we got to find that biggest side first. So if I want to find angle A, that means angle A is going to end up being over here, which means I need side A on the left side of my equal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and say 22 squared equals, now I'm going to need b squared, which is 15 squared, and c squared, 30.2 squared. And we should be good students and put those in parentheses, minus 2 times 15 times 30.2 times the cosine of angle A. So we're solving for an angle here. We're going to have to use that inverse. I'm going to go ahead and go on to this next page here. So now we need to solve this. Now we're going to do the best we can. We've got to get this cosine of A by itself. So what we're going to start by doing is doing in our calculator 22 squared, which should be 484, and then 15 squared is 225, and 30.2 squared is 912.04. So try really hard not to round anything because we don't want to mess with our final answers. And then minus, you should multiply all of this together. So 2 times 15 times 30.2 is going to give us 906 cosine of A. Now you really can leave this all in your calculator, but if you have to, these are the steps that you're doing. You should be able to leave in your calculator. If you need help in the class, let me know. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract 225 from each side. We're also going to subtract 912.04 from each side. And that's going to give us a negative 653.04. Now don't be alarmed about this negative business because we have this all equal to negative 906 cosine of A. Now what's happening here between the 906 and cosine is multiplication. So to undo that multiplication, we're going to divide by negative 906. So now over here, we're dividing by that negative. I'm going to end up with a positive value. So negative 653.04 divided by negative 906 is going to give us 0.7208. Now notice that I went to 4 decimal places because we always want to go to 4 decimal places if we're not keeping in our calculator. On my calculator right now, I see 0.720794702. I'm going to leave that in my calculator, and I'm going to use my second cosine button. I'm going to do inverse cosine of whatever's in my calculator. I'm going to use my answer button, and that's going to give me 43.879. So we're going to go ahead and do 43.9 degrees. So that's telling us that, what did we just solve for here? Angle A is 43.9 degrees. Now, in order to solve a triangle, we need all angles and all sides. So we have that angle A is 43.9. We were given that angle C is 108, which means to find angle B, all we're going to do is add 180, or take 180, sorry, minus 43.9, minus 108 from our given angle to leave us with 28.1 degrees left. And then we already found C on the other side. Side C was 30.2. So those are my 3 answers.